Hello and welcome. Carrie here from Healing Humanity. I've got my shirt on, The Power of a Proper Human Diet. And today I welcome Mimi to the channel. How are you doing, Mimi?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for doing this. I watched a few videos and heard about your story. And so I was hoping maybe if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe your life before you.
2 years and to the month, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And I had a guy on each side and lost my balance. They put me on a bench and they said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, we're calling the ambulance." All of a sudden, my left side, I couldn't move it. And all I could say was the word stroke. It was so bad. But they discovered that from the IV, I had gotten staph A.
So that's an infection, right?
Yeah, that's a deadly infection. And so I just can't walk anymore. I hurt. It just, I'm going to, and my family's already talking about putting me in a home. So I've been carnivore 14 months now. I started to eliminate my medications on my own.
So you were on like every medication under the sun and now you're medication free.
Medication free. I have no symptoms.
You probably would have been ecstatic before if you could have just flatlined and been normal, but you're like turning into the opposite of that now.
Well, yeah, I mean, because as I'm starting to feel better, I'm like, I'm just going to keep going and do it. But I've had a dream of walking the St. Francis of Assisi Trail, the French Way. It's 800 kilometers, 500 miles.
Man, your story, I can't believe what you've gone through. It's just crazy. There's lots of similarities to mine too, but I've not experienced anything like you have. But I had a mini stroke, similar, yeah, and I had arthritis. I don't know if it was rheumatoid arthritis, but I had arthritis so bad in my foot I could barely walk. It was about 18 months. I was using a mobility scooter.
Oh.
And I was on, similar to you, just I have a bin. I don't have it with me here. I sometimes show it on my channel, a bin of medication. I think I was on like 25 different pills. Like at one time, it was just pills for acid reflux, pills for depression, anxiety, sleeping, arthritis, injections. Then I had the stroke. Then I had congestive heart failure. And I'm just like you, no medications at all anymore. And
isn't that fantastic?
It's amazing. And the thing is, it's so frustrating for me. I've seen you've told your story to several people now, and you're really passionate about it, which I love. I don't know how you can't be when you've had such a incredible turnaround, but it's so frustrating for me to see other people out there because it's like you just said, Mimi, they can't wrap their brains around what we're doing. Yeah. They're doing the opposite. They're suffering. So many people out there right now with mental health issues, obesity, diabetes, and they're all like, I could never do what you're doing. And I kind of get it because it's so weird, but I don't know about you. Now that I'm doing carnivore now, I'm coming up on 1 year. It's the easiest thing in the world. Like it's like,
oh, it's so easy.
Yeah, I eat a steak. Sometimes I forget to eat. I'm like, and if your life is hard because you have to eat lots of steak, then you might have to reevaluate some things.
I know.
It's a blessing.
But imagine how hard their life is not feeling well. I mean, that wears on you. That wears on your soul. It wears on your your mentally, emotionally. You know, when you're in chronic pain, when you're chronic sick. I mean, it's just like the weight of it is just. And then when one more thing goes wrong, and one more thing will go wrong, if you don't turn it around, it just becomes. You just become almost like a shell of a person, just trying to get through the day. I mean,
I love everything you're saying.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry, I want to interrupt. We're like on the same wavelength for sure. I was just talking to someone about this because the whole documentary is talking about these chronic illnesses like diabetes and women's health issues. But aside from all of that, if we ignore all of that, like a lot of humanity's doing, because they're just like, oh, I just eat sugar and junk food. It's just the way it is. If we ignore all of that, I totally agree with what you just said. The majority of humanity that's eating the standard American diet, they've got that brain fog and the fatigue, and they're constantly tired because they're putting the wrong fuel in and they got these sicknesses. And when you're like that, you're just going along to get along. You come home, you plop down on the couch, and you're doing the bare minimum to get by in life. You've got kids and you love your kids, but you're not going out and throwing the baseball around because you're so tired and exhausted all the time. You're sleeping 2 hours at night. Your immune system's weak. It's like, and then it goes on for so long. I think it becomes a new normal for people. They're like, that's
it does, and it's very sad. It's very sad.
It's hard to break too. It turns into this social norm where everyone's just like, no, this is just normal that 70%
Yeah.
of people in America are overweight or diabetic or
Yeah.
cancer rates are skyrocketing. That's just the way it's always been. And it's like, no, it hasn't. It's just become this new normal.
Yeah. You're exactly right.